So, we've looked at the causes of World War I, now it's time to look at the causes of World War II. It comes down to three things. Firstly, the Treaty of Versailles. Secondly, the Great Depression. And lastly, the League of Nations. Let's look at the Treaty of Versailles. The Treaty of Versailles was the treaty signed at the end of World War I to end it. The British, French and the USA forced Germany to sign it, and if Germany refused, the Allies warned that they would invade Germany and finish them off. This treaty forced Germany to accept the blame for World War I and made them liable for the damages that it caused the other countries, meaning that they had to pay for their expenses. They also lost a lot of productive land to the French and weren't allowed to have an army, air force or a navy. Now this made a lot of Germans angry, and when Adolf Hitler came along promising to get revenge and end the suffering, well, let's just say they jumped at the opportunity. In 1929, the Great Depression struck, and it affected countries all over the world. In Germany, though, 26% of people, that's almost a third of the country, were out of work, and the government failed to fix the problem. This led the people to get angry and to turn to someone who claimed that he could fix the problems. One guess who that might be. This guy claimed that the Jews were to blame, and that by building a strong army and breaking the Treaty of Versailles and stealing land that wasn't theirs, he could make Germany a better place for everyone, except the Jews. It wasn't going to get better for them. This guy was Adolf Hitler. So why didn't anybody stop him? Well, most governments really didn't want another war and hoped that by leaving him alone, he would in turn leave them alone. Didn't work. Lastly, there was this thing called the League of Nations. Now, the League of Nations was the predecessor to the United Nations, which still exists today. This organisation was set up to keep peace and ensure that a conflict like World War I would never happen again. The League of Nations was weak. It had no real power, and when Japan invaded Manchuria in 1931, it sent some people to have a look and then just told Japan it shouldn't have done it. Japan simply responded by leaving the League and ignoring its directive. A little while later, in 1934, in Italy, a guy called Mussolini invaded another country called Abyssinia. This is nowadays called Ethiopia. Again, the League was powerless to stop him. In the meantime, there was Hitler in Germany, and he decided to invade Poland in 1939, and the rest, as they say, is history, because World War II started and it rolled on from there.